Is this thing on?
That's at the local level. But really, for the most part, we did a good job being an LD. And before I was the chair, and I was the vice chair for a while, we turned federal way as a state, our state reps and our senator, we turned them from red to blue. Or we
Excellent.
really were kind of purple. And now we're blue and we've been blue since 2016, despite having a very conservative federal way is very purple. There's a lot of
Sure.
young families, immigrants, queers, all of that. There's a lot of old white folks who just
Sure.
want stuff to be the way it was. Now at the county level, at the King County Democrats, which I
Right.
think is like the ninth largest Democratic organization in the country
Yep.
because the county's so big. When I first started, I started under a chair who was problematic and he had made some bad decisions and cost the King County Democrats some money because of Glenn Morgan complaints. And then we had Bailey Stober and the drama around Bailey Stober. And Bailey and I were friends, but I sat through the trial of Bailey Stober and definitely, I mean, I had personal conversations where I'm like, Bailey, we're doing too much. We're doing too much right now. Like, we have to find some middle ground. And Bailey is hard headed and Bailey is who Bailey is, whatever. I watched people tear Bailey apart, which I did not agree in the way that it was happening. I didn't always defend him though. I'm a real person. I could be like, I love you, but you messing up. I learned that from my mom. My mom was a 30-year school teacher and a union president for 14 years. And I would be like, Mom, when you know a teacher screwed up, how do you defend them? She goes, I go into the meetings, I do what I need to do as their representative, and then I take them in the classroom next door and I chew their ass out.
Right.
Well, I
Word.
I learned that from her. Like I can love you, but I don't have to like you right now. I can love you and I can still be critical of you. And really, if I'm critical of you, that's because I love you,
That's
right?
right. That's
So
right.
we went through Bailey Stober, all this drama, and then we had the incoming set of leadership, which is now the state party leadership. And there's a lot of controversy around that, and I won't even get into the minutia. But all of a sudden, they started creating this code of conduct, which we didn't
Yep.
have, which I agree we needed because every organization should have. But all of a sudden, I had all these complaints from years ago just out of nowhere. I had seven, eight, nine complaints, vague stuff, things that I didn't even know what they were talking about, things that I could absolutely refute. Like Allison said, the sky is blue. I mean, sky is purple. And I'm like, here's the message where it said, oh, the blue sky is pretty today. They're like, no, 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 we think you said the sky was purple. They weaponized the code of conduct to
Yeah.
silence me. And I'm not the only one, but I'm still
No,
affected
you're
by
not.
it today. They
Yeah.
found me guilty of whatever charges I don't even care anymore. But in the moment, it mattered. In the
No,
moment,
yeah.
and so
For
they
sure.
found me guilty. They imposed some punishment on me where I don't remember what it was, except for the fact that I can't come back to the King County Democrats until I apologize for the things I did. To which I said, no, I'm not going to apologize for things I didn't do. I'm not going to apologize because your feelings are hurt and you weaponize this weird code of conduct against me. And now these are the party people running our state party.
Right.
And I'll give you one specific example, and I won't name names, but you get paperwork to these kind of meetings ahead of time, including budgets and expenditure reports,
Agendas.
whatever. So we got 1 month, we got all of our paperwork. And on one of our financial documents, it said that we had, I don't even know the number, let's say 3,000. We got a $3,000 donation to the King County Democrats, and it was anonymous. And if you know anything about how government
PC.
works,
Mhm.
everything has to be recorded. And if it's not, and then you're out of compliance as an organization.
That's
Now,
right.
remember, the King County Democrats were still paying off a fine from 2 chairs ago that
Right.
financial discrepancies. It was like $100,000 fine that they had knocked down to 25,000, but we were paying it, right?
Hmm.
So I'm like, why would we put anything on paper that we knew Glenn Morgan
Is looking out for you
could
guys.
look at and hold against us? Now, I went on to the PDC. They had reported it correctly. So it was reported correctly with a name attached. But
Hmm.
why would you put it on a document? Why would you put us at risk as an organization at all? So I went into that meeting. Now, mind you, King County Democrats, county organizations are oversight, right?
Sure.
So we part of our job is for oversight.
Of the local LDs.
Yes. And
Right,
so
right.
as the chair of the 30th District Democrats, I stood up at whatever point and said, can we talk about this? $3,000? Can we talk
Mhm.
about why this is listed anonymously? Could we talk about as the chair, as the multiple vice chairs, as a financial team, why you would allow this to be on a paper when you know that this is completely inappropriate? Whatever I said. And the chair at the time didn't run her own meetings, always had a vice chair take over the meetings, didn't know how to answer a lot of questions, was put on a pedestal for her pedigree and her demographic background, in my opinion, and was not a good leader. And I don't know that they're a good leader right now. But that person didn't know how to answer anything. And then all of a sudden, from the finance side of the room, another person comes up and goes, I'm the one that donated the money. I had a little extra money. I donated because the organization needed money. Oh, I don't care. I don't care who it was. That's not what I'm asking. I'm
Right,
asking why we would put this on a document that would put us at risk. That's it.
right.
I am not wrong. This is how we got into this debt in the first place that we're paying
That's
off.
right. That's right.
That incident turned into Allison was bullying.
Oh,
I was bullying her. I bullied her into admitting that it was her. No, I didn't. I never made a demand for someone to
well,
come forth. I knew who it was because I looked in the PDC. I,
right.
that was never what I'm looking at is the leadership of the ninth largest organization for Democrats
Mhm.
in the entire country. And I'm saying, why would you let this slip? This is not spelling my name with one L. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
This is something, because for those who need to know, it's two L. This is not a typo. This is
Mhm.
an intentional decision that
Right.
completely violates the procedures and the rules that exist in place for
That's right.
financial disclosure.
Right. And
It's basic stuff. And for them to make it seem like I bullied her, I was just like, can the leadership explain?
right. And you're just asking for accountability and accountability, knowing how it can harm the organization and really all organizations that are being overseen by that body, right?
But again, the leadership team at that point in time,
Hmm.
the chair was a chosen one, you know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone falls in line. And it's crazy because I've actually done some political stuff recently, and some of the people that were my good friends, some of the people that supported me through this whole process barely even speak to me anymore. And it's
Mm,
like I have the plague or something, and I'm like, I don't
yeah.
care. That's a you problem, not
Right.
a me problem. And the other side of that is like a lot of times people say it's not what I say, it's how I say it. But I'm just very direct.
That was the other chair party.
I think there's a lot of things. At the local level, it's a very interesting dynamic because at the local level, King County Democrats didn't do nothing for the 30th LD.
Right.
King County Democrats are so focused in Seattle LDs that the 47th and the 31st and the 30th and you know what I'm saying? Like nobody cared about
Yeah.
us. The 33rd, nobody cared about us. We didn't get a bunch of money support, nothing. We got one door knocking day. No shade. It's a lot of work. I get it. The leadership at that time, I don't even know what the leadership is now, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. It's all north,
Hmm.
all Seattle and Bellevue based. It is what it is.
Right.
So
Right.
at a local level, my people, for the most part, supported me because they knew what was going on. This was just a campaign to get me to leave, basically, or to create some grounds to kick me out of the party.
Right.
And they did.
Well, and the dynamic that you're speaking to is kind of the Seattle Freeze kind of vibe that we have here.
Maybe.
And I was chatting with somebody from Jersey and somebody from the Bay about this. In places outside of Washington, people are a lot more direct. They're very clear. They're not
Well,
so I
growing up my
need
whole life, even in the Bay, people thought I was from the East Coast.
right, right.
People always thought because the way I talk, because my mannerisms, because you know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure.
This is just who I am.
Right. And so, but your point is that when somebody who is not aligned with the approach to how we do things here in the Pacific Northwest, they're going to be seen as threatening and they're going to be
I'm
seen
gonna
as
coddle you. I'm not gonna
harmful.
be like,
Right.
hey guys, let me rub your back and give you a binky and make you some warm Earl Grey with extra honey, and then let's talk about why
Right.
this paper has a really bad thing on it. No, we're in a meeting. We're all adults. We're professionals. This is what we're here to do. Let's
All
do
adults.
let's do the work.
You know,
But that's what I was here for. And it sucked because after they after they finally punished me and basically said, and when I say it still affects me today, let me tell you, my friend, I just got an email from the current chair, Jeremy Barksdale, first vice chair, who was apparently chairing, because I don't know where Carrie is, the King County Democrats.
Okay,
It was for the reorg, which I think is next week,
that's right.
which is online. And I am once again, for the second time, I don't get to be in the main room. They're putting me in a different virtual room with a little babysitter. I don't get to participate because of my punishment, because I won't say sorry for some
Wow.
shit I didn't do. Here's the thing, all those allegations that happened, I could send you the document. I mean, I had a whole team of people working on this, right? Here's the
Right.
allegation, here's what actually happened, here's the evidence. Like
Yeah.
it was a science project, you know what I'm saying? Of work. I mean, it's not science, but you know what I'm saying,
Research.
right?
I got you. Yep.
But they didn't care.
Right.
The way that they treated me was so bad. But here's the thing, I can be accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Say
The
that.
thing that I did do, then I'm like, I could have done that better. I could say I'm sorry. I could say, hey, I screwed up.
Right.
I'm also really open about my trauma, and and they know that I've never hid any of that, and that's some of the things I put in my like refutation to some of this is I have complex PTSD. Part of that affects your personality. Part of that affects the way you build relationships.
Of course.
I've always been a different person. The last 6 years has added to it,
Yeah.
and that's not me. I'm big on reasons and excuses. That is a reason. It's not an excuse. So
Right.
if I'm in a weird space and I say something and it upsets you, and you come to me and say, hey, the way you said that didn't sit well with me, I might be like, well, that's not what I meant, but I'm sorry that I hurt you. I know how to
Yeah.
apologize. I don't do, I'm sorry you feel that way. So I'll say, like, that was not my intent. Let me explain what my intent was, but
Right.
I understand the impact. And
Mhm.
if it impacted you in that way, I can apologize for that. Or I can be like, no, I'm standing on business. Oh, well, that's how I felt.
Mhm.
Say what I said.
Mhm.
But I can receive feedback
Mhm.
and I can analyze that. And if I need to be accountable, I can be accountable.
All right.
And I was in some of those situations. But to
Okay.
this day, next week, if I want to go to the reorg, I'm in a separate room. I do not
Mm.
get to speak.
Yeah, that's
But
tough.
that's how they treat people that they decided are less than. I can,
Right. Or not aligned with or a threat to
and I'm
the
not, and here's
community.
the thing, there's a bunch of people that are like me, right? But a bunch of them, they're just like, oh, they're old people,
Right.
you know,
Giving
shout
them
out to the elders.
excuses.
That's how we got here, right? But like, they're old, they're just crazy, they're weird. I'm not any of that. I'm still
Right.
young, I'm vibrant. I'm not here to play.
And part of what you're saying is that they be taking things too seriously on those local levels. I mean, there's some seriousness there, and we need to hold those organizations accountable, and we need to respect the work that they do. That's like official work, but it's also volunteer, and it's like you can't be harming people because you think this is a fun social club.
That
So
is what it is for a lot of people. It is a
it
social.
is. But I want to get to the next question. So Allison, what do you fear most about the next Trump presidency?
I don't,
Okay.
honestly. I mean, we're just gonna have to deal with it, whatever it looks like.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. My mom is 71. At some point, she's gonna die. I'm not gonna sit
Mhm.
around thinking about it every day. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I hate that she lives in Central California and my brother's in Southern and I'm here and my mom refuses to move. And I'm like, if my mom had an emergency, how are we gonna get to her? If it was a long time, someone had to live with her, who's gonna live with her? All of those things happen in my brain. What can I do about it? So
Right.
I deal with things on the level that I can. And so every time I talk to my mom, I'm like, what we gonna do, lady? You move to
Right.
Seattle? You gonna move to Orange County? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But I can't sit around and think about, oh my God, is today the day
Right.
that mom's gonna fall, or is tomorrow the day that she's gonna get diagnosed with something?
Okay.
Am I worried about
Right.
queer rights? Sure. Am I worried abortion? Sure. We also live in a bit of a bubble on the West Coast. I think I'm more worried about that part, I guess, is if somehow they were to start infiltrating us. But Bob Ferguson is going to be a great governor. Uh,
Right.
I don't see our stronghold on democracy as far as the Democrats. I don't see that breaking anytime soon.
So the next question that I have for you is, what do you hope most about the next Trump presidency?
Well, I've already said some controversial shit. I hope it's terrible. I hope it's terrible. I hope that lots of people experience really bad things and that somebody learns a lesson that way. And that's terrible.
Yeah, that's real.
I don't think in my heart I really mean that, but I don't know what else is going to make these people wake up. What else
Right.
is going to make these people who are relying on Obamacare to realize that he wants to gut Obamacare?
Right.
But you voted for Trump and you have your MAGA hat on right now. There's so many dumb people in this world. If
Mhm.
things go really bad, will that wake people up? No, I don't even know if it will.
Right.
I don't know. I guess part of me, I'm a triple Libra. So part of me is like, I hope things are terrible to the point, like there's Republicans for Harris, right? That was a very big, very active group politically.
Right.
Maybe we go so far to the world is really about to burn and not exist anymore that more people realize, oh, maybe we made a bad decision. The other side
Right.
of that is, will they?
Right.
Maybe, maybe I just hope that nothing.
Yeah, it's
Is
tough.
that terrible to just not have hope?
No, it's you have hope. It's just you're not placing your hope in other people. Is that
Yeah.
accurate? Right? Because you've learned through what you've gone through that you have to rely on yourself and you have to, by and large, make yourself happy and focus on the things that you can control because placing energy outside of that ends up harming you in the long run.
I've done so much work for so many people.
Right.
I'm a big believer in karma.
Right.
So I do believe if I do good for you and you screw me over, I'm gonna get that back somewhere. I'm gonna
Get
be
it back somewhere.
upset because I'm like, why you do me like that? But it'll come back to me somewhere. So I just know I've put hours, sweat, tears, blood, money, passion into people who decided that they didn't like the way I said something and then they threw me out. Like I was not worth it. The idea of being excluded from
Party.
yeah, right, the party of inclusion. You're gonna keep me in a separate room on a Zoom meeting. We're in
The cringe
2024.
is real.
For 4 years, we've learned how to mute. In fact, most people do it accidentally every single meeting.
Right.
So if I get out of pocket, mute me. But I actually don't get out of pocket.
Right.
But instead, they're gonna have me in a little waiting room by myself. So like I've given too much to people who didn't give a shit about me at the end of the day, who used me, who ate at my table, then turned around and shit on me.
Right.
And then
Right.
so I
No,
know
I
this
got you.
is so sad now that I
It's
say it
not
out
so,
loud.
but check it out though. Like, who is it sad to, right? It's sad to the society of people that you feel like you have to perform in front of that abide by these rules of decency. Sure, it's sad for them, but for you, at the end of the day, it's this is what I have to do
Oh,
to
I'm
protect
good.
myself. You know what
On
I'm
a
saying?
very personal level, I'm good.
That's what I'm saying. So the next question is what do you believe about the people who voted opposite of you?
I
Be
think a
sure
lot
to
of them are just ignorant. I think a lot of them are just sheep. I think a lot of them are uneducated. I have a really high IQ. Like my IQ is like a 130, right?
right.
Uh,
Well, but the issue is that, and some of this is the narrative coming out of the Democrats, right? Like the Democrats focused on bringing out the elite and getting star power out. And a lot of some of the rhetoric on the Democratic side was that, oh, you don't know how the economy works. It's more complicated than that. A lot of people just don't know how the system works. Those are very elite messages that
there's some truth behind that though.
well, there's truth, but does it matter when it comes to you're right, there is truth to that. But when it comes to how our democracy survives, is it truth that's going to win the day, or is it messaging that resonates with everybody, like the economy? Or do you
I
feel
think
like
that a
that
lot of the
message is elite?
messaging was just about how terrible Trump was, and I think we should have
Right.
focused a little bit differently when it comes to that.
Okay.
I think that everyone complaining about star power, I think the star power is great. I think if two people voted for Kamala because of Beyonce or Taylor Swift, that's two more votes than we would have had. So I think people need to stop tripping off that. I
True.
think Cardi B up there, what I'm saying, with her broken ass English, what I'm saying, but passionately defending her points. I love all of it. But at
Me
the same
too.
time, I think that we definitely didn't do enough messaging in the right ways to literally say what I just talked about for today. Donald Trump is promising these tariffs. Eggs are included in that. You're mad about the $7 eggs, which I've never seen $7 eggs, but okay. You're mad about the $7 eggs. With this tariff, that's going to be $9 eggs. We didn't do enough really basic stuff. The hard part
Right.
is things like the economy. They're really hard for people who do not have a good education to understand. So
That's
you
right.
have to make it palpable for everyone. You
That's
have
right.
to say it You have to meet people where they are. And when we have an education system where 30% of the students graduate high school and can't read, there we are.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
I think that we Democrats, we got on ourselves afterwards for things like Beyonce and Cardi B I think all that shit was great. The other side of because I think you reach who you reach, and I think young people and urban people need to be reached too. But I also think we're and this is in some ways it might have been a timeline issue that we had 105 days or some shit, right? I think that some of that basic, this is what you're upset about, this is what he says. But here's the other thing. They did do a lot of that. If you think about the convention, how many times did they bring out that Keenan Thompson brought out that Project 2025 book? And
Right.
look at what he says he's gonna do. I feel like we did it. The problem is we did it to our own party who was already on board, so we're preaching to the choir.
Right.
There were things that we broke down. Even her niece is coming out and saying it's comma law. We did some dumbing down during the convention specifically that I paid attention to at least.
Right.
I think where we failed is taking that messaging beyond the Democrats
Right.
and figuring
Yeah.
out a way to reach those folks.
Right.
Time, money, resources, hindsight.
Well, you're answering the questions before I ask them, so I really don't appreciate that, Allison, with two L's.
Never read the questions, really?
Right, I know. I guess that's what I get for giving the questions ahead of time, which
No, I'm
I'm
just
all
saying I
about
didn't really
transparency.
read them, so I'm just that smart.
Yes, you
I
is.
know where you're going.
Right. Okay, so the next question is what is the worst thing about society to you?
Oh God, that's too much. I don't know. What is the worst thing about society? I don't know if this is simple or vague. A little bit of both. Elitism and power.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
no, I hear you.
I think they're kind of the roots of most evils.
Do you want to elaborate or no?
I mean, if you look at Elon Musk and how Elon Musk has affected the political scheme, he has resources, he has a level of elitism that most of us will never have, and he has power because he has money, and then he has influence because of his money. It's very, again, I'm not religious, but it feels very David and Goliath. Because all of us who do the boots on the ground work feel very,
Disenfranchised.
we feel helpless, I think, right now.
Right.
I mean, not so much me because I didn't door knock. I offered some campaigns to phone call and they never called me. So and I should have done more maybe. Who knows? Maybe if all of us did a little more, we would be in a different space. I don't know. I'm part of the problem, I suppose. But then I'll take that back. Why did I do more? I didn't do more because I'm disenfranchised from the boots on the ground here.
That's right.
Why is that? Because I was
That's
just
right.
being human and you call me a bully.
Right.
So it's like power and elitism isn't always
About money.
wears a lot of faces and it comes
Sure.
at a lot of different levels.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point. And I like that it's vague. So the next question, what do you believe is one of the reasons that Trump and the largely Republic Congress was
I
elected?
think some of it's fear too for them.
Okay.
That idea that like white people are going to be eradicated. If you don't have black friends, if you don't have brown friends, if you don't have queer friends, I can understand why that scares you. So it's like all these things that they're afraid of
Right.
in a lot of ways are just beautiful spaces.
Right.
If you've never experienced them,
You are going to feel threatened by
experience them,
them.
then you're living in fear. And if you only have a high school education, or maybe not even that, and that wasn't even good if you did, you don't have the reasoning, the logic, the life experience to make better choices.
Right.
I think the Republicans preyed on that in a lot of ways. And the Republicans did a lot of good messaging around the economic stuff, even if it was lies.
Right.
But they did so much fear mongering about the money, about economics, and they all this promising that it would get better. And he is a month away from being inaugurated. I think that to answer your initial question, I just think people had hope that he would tell the truth, and they're ignorant enough to believe that he might this time.
Right.
And I don't say ignorant in a mean way. I say it in the root word.
Right. Ignore.
They just
Yeah.
don't. They're just blind to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's willful ignorance. I'm getting wrong.
That's right. That's right. So the next question I have is, do you feel like you did enough to affect the election in the way you wanted to see it go?
No, I
But
didn't.
let's check that because you also held a fundraiser, Comedians for
Well, I
Kamala.
didn't hold it. It's actually an organization. When Kamala first ran or announced her candidacy, and there was black women, white women, whatever, everybody for Kamala Zooms, fundraising calls. Comics for Kamala was one of them. Like
Okay.
Jerry Seinfeld was on there, and Rosie
Mhm.
O'Donnell was on there, and there's a bunch of people on there. And that organization turned it into a tour, basically. And so they wanted to have one in every state. And the one in
Mhm.
Washington was in Seattle, and I got to host it. So I just hosted it, but
Okay.
I don't feel like I did enough, partly because I didn't feel like work I did affects the national level because I have that understanding of politics. And I felt like on a state level, Democrats would be fine. Should I have worked specifically more for the campaign? Probably. I should have done more phone banking in Alabama.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
think
I definitely had some ways, but again, there's trauma.
right, right. So the last question I have for you is what do you want to say to the version of you 4 years in the future?
Oh God. I hope that all of these changes that you have been doing recently and that you are continuing to sort of do have the desired outcome. I mean, in 4 years from now, I would like to be a traveling comic most of the time. I would like to be in a space because I'll be what, 7, almost 8 years in, and I'll be almost 50. No, I'll be 50, I guess. I hope by then I will have accomplished some of the goals that I have right now to travel regularly for comedy and get paid. And hopefully, maybe 7 years is probably not going to be my full-time job still, but getting there, continue on the trajectory. I hope that I am healthy and happy. I hope my kid is thriving.
Well, Allison, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. It's been funny, real, and uplifting. So hopefully those are some of your ethos because you accomplished some of those things. We are all different, but we are all also the same. What matters is we recognize that and move forward to make a better world for all of us. Thank
Period.
you. And hopefully I'm looking forward to coming and seeing one of your shows sometime soon. I know
Yeah,
you.
follow me. Follow me on social media, everyone. Allie, Alli, two L's, Alli, real funny AF. Come see a show. At the end of the day, I'm always gonna do political work and community work or whatever, but like comedy is something that is really bringing me joy. I think comedy is healing for us all, regardless of
100%.
our demographic. So come see me do comedy.
100%. Awesome.